Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be covering why Reyna is a good agent in ranked, what her role is, how to play her, and also why she's bad at the same time. So let's get right into it. So firstly, she's a good agent for improvement in my opinion. As her util is quite limited, she's the type of agent where you're going to get punished if you're not hitting your shots because you've only got like 2 flashes and they're not as good as everyone else's flashes. They're kind of easy. You can shoot them, you can do whatever you want. So you have to be hitting your shots. But the best bit is if you hit your shots, you get rewarded as you can heal off your kills and you can dismiss to get out of tough situations. And her ult can do both at the same time. So yeah, this is why she's a very good agent, especially in low rank, I would say. Because if you're aiming well on Reyna, you're going to be able to carry your game really easily. So now we've got why she's good for ranked, I'll say why she's bad. So the first thing is, Reyna is a terrible entry. She doesn't really have any movement abilities. Her flash is really easy to counter, so she's really bad for entering, because on Phoenix you have a fast flash that's hard to dodge, especially if you bounce off a wall. You have a TP, a decoy that can bait out a Cypher trip or something. And the flash is one of the most unpredictable flashes in the whole game, or the most unpredictable flash by far, and you could TP off your flash and combine them a little bit. Jet has a dash which is super effective, and a smoke that she can play around, so she's really good to play for yourself. Raze has Boombot that can clear areas, and a nade that can clear something, and 2 satchels, and Neon's got a wall and 2 stuns and a slide. And Reyna's only really got a flash that you can easily shoot from. So yeah, this is why she's really bad in ranked for a solo entry. So with the Leer, the main strength of this is it deviates the enemy's crosshair placement, which is why for the first tip, I'll just do for tree, for example, you don't want to be throwing this head level. You either want to be throwing it at the ground or at the sky, and either of those will kind of depend from the range of where you're flashing from, because if you're throwing it really high from, let's say, top mid, for example, and someone's playing here, they're not going to get flashed because they can't see the layer. So for an angle like this, I recommend just kind of flashing on the ground so they actually do get flashed. If you are peeking a long range angle though, I recommend kind of flashing a bit behind you, because if someone is close, they're still going to see the flash rather than flashing kind of high like this, where they just won't get flashed. So I see a lot of Reyners always kind of misinterpret or misuse the flash, and it gets them killed a lot of times because they think they're going to be peeking someone that's flashed when they're not flashed at all because they've thrown their flash completely incorrectly. So as I said, throw it at the floor if you're kind of playing someone, or if you're kind of able to throw it at a back wall like this, like so. This is also really strong as well because it just makes them like they won't be able to see unless they're kind of like this close. Hence why you can actually double flash an angle, kind of like this, so you can cover yourself from multiple angles. But bear in mind, this depends on the timing of the round, how long they've had to kind of walk up there if they're defending, for example. There's a lot of like variables to when or when not to double flash. If you're stuck in a position where you have to entry on Reyna, I always recommend double flashing, as this is the only kind of somewhat effective and viable way you can entry a site on Reyna, although it probably won't work all the time if you're playing against a higher rank like Radiant, for example. A simple double flash might not be enough unless you get lucky and they whiff. But yeah, always don't misinterpret the use of a flash. Don't flash head level. Try and flash to deviate their crosshair placement, and make sure they're not playing close, or you have kind of some sort of angle cleared before you do pop your flash like such, so you're not leaving yourself fighting someone that's not flashed when you think they're flashed, because then you're just going to lose the gunfight. You're not mentally prepared to fight someone in a normal gunfight. You're prepared to fight someone that's flashed. So yeah, that's how I would recommend using the Leer. Another mistake I see a lot of Reyna players make is knowing when to use their dismiss and when to heal. And if you're pushing an angle and you're playing very aggressively, specifically on a defense round, I'm only going to do this on Ascent as an example. Let's say you're peeking kind of like this on defense, you want to peek A main, you get a kill, then you use your dismiss. If it's a one-on-one fight, you kill a lurker and he's damaged you a bit, make sure you heal, because I see so many Reynas, especially in low elo, just use their dismiss for no reason when they don't have to. They don't know when to use their dismiss and when to heal off their kill. And this is really important, because this is a way you're going to be able to have more impact on a round. Because if you're fighting someone and you're not full HP because you've not healed when you could have healed and you weren't in danger, you're going to be putting yourself at a disadvantage. So you always want to make sure, if it's a one-on-one fight, someone else isn't going to swing. Especially from a long range fight, you don't need to dismiss from. But if you know it's a one-on-one fight, you're killing someone that's lurking or they're defaulting, make sure you heal. If there is someone there and you're playing a long range angle, you can still heal and then just back off when they swing. Let's say you're fighting, I don't know, tiles, kill one, start healing, someone else swings, then you can just kind of back up And at least you've recovered some HP and you haven't dismissed when you don't need to, and you've given yourself that opportunity to at least maybe, allow them to have to hit another shot on you, for example, to get a kill. But from close range, let's say you're playing it aggro and you're running it down, you see 3 people, you kill one, you dismiss. That is what you have to do, because you can't heal in that situation because you're probably gonna die. With her role, you want to be using your ult as much as possible, especially, it's only 6 ult orbs that are needed, or ult points, so you want to be spamming that ult out as much as possible, because you get the dismiss and you get the HP, which means you can take way more aggressive fights. In low elo, you can be getting 3Ks, 4Ks with that ult if you're hitting your shots properly, and it's, in my opinion, in any rank, to be honest, below Immortal, it is probably the most useful ult in the game in terms of just killing, because no offense, a lot of lower elo players can't really aim and they get scared of a Reyna ult. And if you're just running at them, you shoot faster as well, you're going to be just killing them for free if you're hitting your shots, which just leads to my other point. Make sure you do warm up before playing this agent, because if you're not hitting your shots, you're basically a useless teammate, and it's a 4v5 because you don't have any util to be useful. Only got a Reyna flash, which you can kind of use to support if you have another duelist, but if you're not killing, which is kind of what Reyna's kit rewards, you're not going to be having the impact that is going to be needed on the game to make it effective. Because at least, let's say you're playing Sova or, I don't know, a Sky or something, you have like, info and whatnot, so you can still be a little bit more useful to your team when you're not, having a bad game and you're not killing. So yeah. Another strength of the Reyna role is that you are completely invisible, and the only way the enemy can really get any info is when you're out of that dismiss from your role. They can hear where you are. But in a normal dismiss, you can kind of see the purple outline of Reyna and you know where they are, which is why if you dismiss and you're pushed too far and you're dismissing away, enemies can just rush after you and get a free kill. In low elo, they don't tend to do that much. So again, that's why I don't always recommend dismissing unnecessarily when you can heal. So yeah, that's another thing with the ult as well. You can kind of use it and make sure when you're repositioning after getting a kill with your ult, let's say your backside, you want to be making sure you're positioned in a place where you can re-swing and you're not instantly seen and whatnot. So yeah, make sure you're doing that. And also, I did say earlier that it is Reyna's ult can have the most impact on a game, it's in low elo, but it's also a kind of useless ult as well in the grander scheme of things. So if you don't get any value off it, it's not the end of the world. It's only really good to play off yourself with, which is why you want to be popping it as much as possible. It's not something you should be holding on to for too long. Now we've got that out of the way, I'm going to sort of explain the ideal role that a Reyna should be playing in any rank, and that is a second duelist or a support duelist. Because as I said before, Reyna is very bad for entering because she's got the least amount of util that can support an entry, right? So you can actually flash out for your duelist, as an additional piece of utility, and go out second with them, because that is mainly your primary role on Reyna. Don't lurk on Reyna. Don't, because if you're lurking on Reyna and you're not killing, you're basically putting your team in a 4v5. You're useless, essentially. And you want to be flashing for your teammates. You want to be going out second or third at least, and you want to try and be hitting your shots, but obviously you can't be guaranteeing that every game. So the bare minimum you can do is flash out and go out second with your entry, give them a bit of support. Kind of just, imagine jet dashes up here, you flash, you can kind of hold this tree angle for them, assuming this is cleared, to make sure no one timings the smoke and gets a lucky 2k or something out of the tree. So you can kind of hold this down. You can even hold heaven, or you can run outside with your jet and just help them take the space and whatnot. But yeah, make sure you're just supporting your teammates. Make sure you're flashing for your entries and whatnot. You're a support duelist. You don't want to be the solo entry on Reyna either, because there's a lack of util. You're probably just gonna die. It's quite hard just to solo entry on Reyna, to be honest. I don't recommend doing it. If your team are lacking a duelist and you need to play duelist, unless you're playing below diamond, I would say don't just solo lock Reyna, because you're not going to be able to just out aim everyone. Eventually you're going to have someone holding from Dice, Jenny and another place. They're going to be in a 2v1 situation where it's just going to be impossible to win. So yeah, don't recommend solo entering on Reyna. I recommend being a second out, supporting your other duelist, because Reyna is only really viable with 2 duelists, unless you are kind of playing in a really low elo where comp doesn't matter as much. So yeah. One strength of Reyna though is on defense. She's really good at playing aggressively because of that dismissibility, and she's also got this flash which you can easily take advantage of. And if you combine the both of them, you can easily just flash an angle like A main, dismiss away and play a 4v5. It's even easier than Jet because you have a flash, and that kind of sort of guarantees a kill if you flash correctly, because that'll deviate some of their crosshair placements away to shoot the flash. But this also leads, you could also get absolutely destroyed if you peek too early off of your flash as well. And that's another thing, with the flash. It takes a second to actually fully pop. If you see this eye here, until it actually forms the eye, that doesn't actually flash anyone or, see them in any way. If you kind of peek too early, they're going to be able to see where exactly you are, and they're just going to spam you. Even when they're fully flashed, they'll still know where you are and you'll die. So do make sure, if you do flash an aggressive angle like K-main, that you wait a second. You don't have to watch the flash, obviously, but until you kind of hear that sound, don't peek. You can kind of do the same thing with mid as well. You can kind of flash up here and peek tiles. I don't recommend doing bottom mid because there's too many kind of angles, so you can swung from and whatnot. B main is also a good place you can kind of go to with a Reyna flash if you want to get one, or you can kind of play a little off angle out here, kill one and dismiss out kind of around this corner so you're not seen. So yeah, Reyna is, in my opinion, one of the best duelists to play aggressively on defense and put your team in advantageous situations and have numbers on your team to make it a little bit harder for them to push. So yeah, that's a way you could kind of maximize your output on Reyna, especially on the defensive half. You can kind of do what you want though. Reyna is an agent where you can play very freely, so you don't really have like a set role on the team. I don't recommend lurking on Reyna, as I said, because it's kind of useless unless you're defaulting. Then she can be really effective. As her whole kit is based for herself. So yeah, that's the thing that I would say with Reyna. She's really good just for playing aggressively on defense with her layer plus a dismiss. You can get a lot of free kills for yourself. And with her ult is really good for retakes as well, as you can get a lot of info while in your dismiss, and obviously you shoot faster, as you can see, and you're invisible, so someone can kind of swing. If you see one on the map, they can swing them and whatnot, and you can get a lot of info with your ult if you're hitting shots well. So yeah, ult is really good for retaking. And this is going to lead me on to the last segment of the video, which is do not lock Reyna if you do not have another duelist on your team that you can support, unless you're playing in gold or platinum below, to be honest, because then you can kind of just focus on your own mechanics and not have to worry about the utility side of the game as much while you're in those lower ranks. If you're playing in a high rank and you don't have a duelist, do not be locking Reyna because you're just going to be losing the game for your team. Either I don't encourage players to dodge, but either dodge the game if you don't feel comfortable, ask someone else if they're hovering if they can play duelist if you don't feel comfortable playing a decent duelist, or lock it yourself, or learn a duelist that's not Reyna, because you don't really have to learn Reyna, let's face it. All it is a flash and a dismiss and a heal. You don't have to really learn any sort of scaling methods or any sort of entry pathings and whatnot. So yeah, maybe try and learn another duelist or another agent that can suit the game a little bit better, because Reyna's utility is a little bit useless, let's face it. She's really good for self-play and whatnot, but I don't really recommend anything like that past, unless you're going to be playing her as a support to another duelist. I don't know. So yeah, I don't really recommend just playing Reyna as a solo duelist, because I think it's quite a selfish decision, and you're ultimately probably going to lose your team the game by doing so. So yeah, with Reyna can be played on any map as well, just to let you know. I've seen her be played in pro play, with Aspas on Icebox. He kind of really utilized the agent pretty well with his positioning. So you can check out that VOD. It was 100 Thieves versus Leviathan on Icebox. And that is a really good example of how Reyna is supposed to be played, and you can pay attention to his positioning. I might do a video on that in the future. I've seen her played on Bind and Ascent. I think she's good on Lotus. Don't recommend her for Split at all, to be honest with you. You can play her though, she is playable. I don't recommend her on Split. If Fracture comes back, that was her worst map, if that ever comes back in the map pool. But yeah, other than that, she's just alright on every map, to be honest. Split, I don't really recommend playing her on, and Fracture, she was, in my opinion, useless. So yeah. And with that, that'll be the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you found the video useful, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and comment what you want to see next. I do plan on doing some Fade stuff and some Viper stuff soon, so let me know if you want to see that or you want to see anything else. I'm going to be doing how to get out of Platinum soon as well, so pay attention to that, and see you next time. Peace.